You can follow me on any of the listed social media, and you can read my manga over on Pixiv. If you'd like to support me, then please consider subbing to my Patreon. Thank you. Fan art from start to finish, and just kind of talk through what I'm doing. Basically, I've done one series like this in the past with a Nezuko fan art, and seemed to be a couple of people who enjoyed it, so I figured I might as well do it for a Dehya fan art. It's going to be a little bit more casual, a little bit more relaxed. I'm not going to just try to walk through absolutely everything I'm doing. It's not really trying to treat this like a tutorial video necessarily, but should be some good tips and tricks in there to help out any of you who are trying to get better at art along with me. So I did go ahead and already sketch out a figure, just because honestly I forgot I was going to record my fan art, so I am sorry about that. So I already have a figure sketched up, but shouldn't get in the way of anything because I pretty much got what I wanted there, so I didn't feel like redrawing it from scratch just so I could have it in the video. But basically just get some basics out of the way. I've got one layer here with my figure on it. I've lowered the opacity way down so that way if I'm accidentally in that layer trying to work with my line art, I can immediately see like, oh shoot, it's all gray, that means I'm on the wrong layer. So it also is nice because I don't need bright red construction lines to just ruin my life, so I'm just gonna leave that like that. The rest of my construction lines though, which will be like her clothes and details, we're pretty much just gonna map Dehya onto this figure. That's how I do all the fan arts. I'll draw a figure. I'll try to figure out the proportions for the character and stuff, or modify them as I see fit. Get the figure, get the pose, and then I'll just put the character on over that figure. So it keeps it simple. But for the rest of my construction lines, I've got them in they're gonna go into this folder here. That way when I'm in there working, I can't accidentally like merge them to this layer and stuff, so I can just keep my figure completely untouched, doing its own thing here. And all my other construction line layers will just be in this folder. And just like those ones, I've lowered the opacity, although I have the opacity a bit more full than that original layer, just so I can see what's going on over it a little bit more easily, because if it's too see-through, then it's like I can't really see what I'm doing through the line. So it's not all the way bright, but it's at 50 opacity, so it's very visible compared to the figure. In fact, we could even make the figure less visible. There we go. That should be just fine. Obviously, if you're kind of like sketching along or anything like that, traditionally, you can get the same look if you just draw super lightly with like a pencil. That way when you go over it with your hard lines, like with your pen or your marker or whatever, you can then go through it and then lightly erase, and it'll just get rid of all your construction lines, and it shouldn't leave behind anything. So either way, I guess we can get started here. Kind of order of operations, I usually start from the top down, because things like her hair or her chin would be covering up portions of her body, but Dehya's got a lot of like armor on her arms and shoulders and stuff like that, and some jewelry, so I'm just gonna kind of start out of order what I would normally do. But first we'll just get this shoulder plate mapped out. So right now I'm just kind of mapping out what would be the surface of it, just kind of in this straight line, because I'm just trying to basically intuit the shapes here. And then I just got a section like this, and then I'll just use this to kind of edit. I don't know if I should make this smaller or not though. It's pretty big, but this is a little too big. So let's do this. And now we can kind of figure this out. So it kind of comes up multiple angles here, like so. Sinks in, flares back out, connects. And it probably won't be perfect, but just trying to get it close enough. Again, in these little sketch layers, you can make as many changes as you need. It's not really a big deal. So let's do that for now. And then this little shape is just basically doing this from underneath. I've got this little plate here. So I really like the character designs in some of these gacha games because they put a lot of thought into the characters. So there's a lot of little details that maybe you might miss if you're just playing the game, but when you're trying to draw these characters, it's a fun challenge. Lots of little details. Nothing really goes unused in them. So if you're trying to get better at drawing, I definitely suggest doing some fan arts from some of these games like Genshin or like Zenless, things like that, because there's a lot of the characters have a lot of little details on them that can challenge you, especially if you're a beginner. So do this. Then looks like it just kind of comes up like this. Just trying to get the overall shapes right. I can figure out the rest from there. Also, sorry, I'm probably going to be coughing randomly. I was planning on making these videos like 2 weeks ago, and then I just randomly got sick. So it kind of curtailed everything. So I pushed it off as long as I could, but now kind of just need to get these done. So unfortunately, I am going to be coughing every now and then, because I'm still getting over that part of it. So it is what it is, but I'll try not to hack into the mic and mute myself if I can catch it in time, so just bear with me here. Okay, we got this. But yeah, just lots of little details here, so trying to keep it as close to the original as I can. But the way I like to do fan arts too is I don't make it my own necessarily. Like, I'm still pretty much 90% capturing the design of the character, but I do like having some little things that are my own twist or own little flair if I feel like I could change it or make it just a little bit different, just so that way I can still be creative even with a fan art. I don't know, it's kind of fun for me. Some people like trying to mimic it exactly, but I like drawing it in my own art style and every now and then adding my own little twists to things. So do something like that. And it looks like it's just floating there, so I guess we don't need any like straps to hold it on or anything. But now I can get her arms armor kind of drawn in, which looks like we just have some patterns and stuff that we're going to have to capture. So I'm just going to kind of figure out where her bicep merges into her forearm. So it looks like she's got some forearm armor that's going to be sticking out. Unfortunately, I do not have the greatest of references for what this looks like, especially at this angle, so we will wing this. So, add something like this. Do this. So we'll kind of keep an eye on how, like, what her shoulder plate looked like, and we'll kind of keep some of that through here. So again, you could go online or just open up the game or something, and if you have Dehya, and take a look at her and see exactly what this is doing. I really don't feel like taking the time to do that, so I'm just going to do this instead. Should look fine once it's done, even if it's not exactly the same. Do this. And it looks like it kind of opens up again, but this layer is kind of above it, so we'll leave this little gap here, like so. And then it looks like it just kind of comes down right here into the sort of claws over the hands. And then again, we've got kind of a unique armor situation here. So looks like she's got some little claw things here. So we'll add that. Like so. I do love Dehya's design though. I wish she wasn't lackluster performance wise. I mean, there's some fun Dehya teams out there. You can certainly make her work, but you can kind of make any character work if you just spam Farina and Bennett and Jalonen on the team. Like at that point, you can pretty much make any unit work. But I wish her kit was a little bit better. But I guess she is a standard character, so it makes sense. They don't want to make her OP. But it's just design-wise, she looks really cool. So I wish that she was a little bit stronger. Is what it is. There we go. It's nice that the layer underneath is just like black. So it's like I really just have to follow our little sketch here. I don't have to make any crazy designs there. And she's got some stuff going on here. So it looks like she's got some gold plating that kind of wraps around like so. And this is all the black stuff. This angle can be a little bit tougher trying to fit the armor in because I've kind of got some foreshortening going on here, some perspective, so I feel like I'm getting a little crowded here, but it's not the end of the world. Do this. Kind of have her arm pudging out here, because this is just skin here. There we go. I feel like this shoulder plate does need to come over the arm a little bit more, and I'll angle it just a touch. There we go. That is a lot better. And yeah, so I'm gonna make a new layer here because if I need to rearrange that arm or move it, I don't want my other stuff getting in the way. So I guess we can draw some of this belt stuff going on. So I'm just gonna have it kind of laying right here. So she's got like a giant belt buckle here with, again, a unique design. So we'll figure out our little center point. Try to make this even here, like so. I'm going to rotate my canvas, make this easier, because as we can see, this shape is atrocious. So we're just gonna redo this. Probably should have just started with a little center line to begin with, but when you try to save time, you end up spending more of it, so it is what it is. There we go. That's much better. And then, let's see, he's got these little shapes here. So we'll start off with this little guy right here, because it looks like some stuff kind of come out of it. So I'll do this. It's got like a jewel and a V shape. So the V shape's coming up from underneath, it looks like. So we'll do this, add our little jewel. It's pretty much fine, like so. And then coming out from it, like this. We are gonna have to move this up, like so. And then this has a design to it. It looks like it's just kind of doing this number. We have like this opening here. And then this shape here. We'll do this. then this is all open here. We'll have these little lines here. Kind of connecting like so. And then it's got these little things right here. We'll shape it like this. Still looks like I got that mixed up. Goes like that. Should be good. And in these little sketch layers, you know, we'll go back through and make sure everything's exactly the way we want it. Make sure it's all centered up nice. So this is just the sort of sketch of it. Trying to find the shapes and lines we like. There we go. And then from there, we can't see a whole lot more of the belt. A little bit more of this shape here, though. And that looks like the belt itself, just kind of coming way off on the side here with some belt rings. Flip it to normal, make sure we've got something good going on. The rest of my belt shape here, and her element sigil thing. I'm gonna have to look up exactly what the element looks like for Pyro. So I do not recall. I have a vague, I have a good idea, but I do want to get that one right, because that one's pretty important. So I'll do this. But yeah, like I said, I work off of like reference photos, just stuff I find online. If you really wanted to make it absolutely perfect, then definitely just opening up the game or the source material itself and just taking a bunch of pictures from every angle is definitely the best way to do it. But for me, I kind of like the challenge of having a reference up, but not everything I could possibly ever need from it. That way I can kind of problem solve as I go and just have some moments to think on my feet a little bit more. So end result is that the fan art isn't exactly matching the source, but I feel like it's good practice, because then you can take the stuff that you problem solved and implement that in your own art. At least it's not holding your hand necessarily, you know. Which, if you're trying to get better, it can be fine to establish good habits that way, but I like to have a little bit more of a challenge. Kind of make these little shapes here. There we go. Make that wrap a little bit better. Okay, and then looks like her pants are just like the waistline of the pants are just under the belt, so it looks like I don't actually need to add that, so that's kind of nice. So do that, and this is just her cheek. From there, looks like she's got some detail in the pants, but then a bunch of like belts and stuff. So I do think what we're gonna do though is just kind of move this up a little bit, just so it's not quite in the way of our leg. And then she's got these belt things, so we're just gonna kind of wrap them around like so. And she's got a belt connecting through here, it looks like. Like so. It looks like it just kind of goes down to her knee. So I think I need to actually change it a little bit. It basically just goes right over top of her leg. So we'll kind of follow the shape of our character's leg here. Do this. And then we can add in that little section here. And it looks like it's just got some little details here, some little silver pieces. And then it's got another belt like this. She's got a lot of belts going on here. So there's a lot to keep track of here. Do this. And you want to bring these just over our little leg sketch. Then we'll kind of pull the leg into it nicely. Okay, let's see. So it looks like this leg is mostly covered, but has some sections that are open. It looks like her pants are kind of ripped. So we'll add a little pudge there. Kind of connect these. And it looks like that one on this leg has another little rip here. So again, we'll just connect like this, have a little pudge from where the skin is kind of popping out. And then into the knee. Okay, it looks like she has some armor stuff that's not right over the knee, but it's like just above it. So some of this belt mess is going to get covered up, so that's kind of helpful. This. Okay. There's like no detail on these belts either. They're just kind of, there's like leather, I guess. So those ones are going to have to do extra good in the rendering to make them nice to look at. Otherwise, they're just going to be kind of bland. So do this. And then her shoe area, she's got like one of these things. Okay, it looks like these just kind of hang off of it. First I thought it was like just spikes, but looks like it's just ornaments that kind of just hang off. So we'll add these like so. And then we can add this toe area here. Kind of blends back over her heel here. Connecting like so. There we go. Something like that. Okay. Let's see, what next? I guess we can add the leg armor. So again, I'm just gonna make another layer here. Angle this a little bit. And then, so it looks like we're gonna want our center line here. It's got a triangle section like so. Not that extreme of a triangle though, here at the bottom. So we'll do this. Then this shape goes over, it looks like this is part of her boot. So we'll do this. Like so. And it's got its own little gold piece. But this is like what I'm talking about when you're doing like fan arts from like Genshin, stuff like that. There's just lots and lots of little details that might go missed if you're just playing the game. So it is fun to do these fan arts because it just helps you learn the character a bit better. It's pretty fun. Do this like so. And then we just have one more little thing here. Like this. Then I need to bring this side down a little bit and wrap it around. There we go. And then it looks like the belts just cut off once they hit the boot area, so I'm just gonna get rid of these here so they're not in my way. Like that, and then she's got like a yellow line right down the front. There we go. Okay, okay, looks like this is its full little ornament there, so we'll just do that. There we go. Okay, and then I guess we can kind of just mimic what we did for the other side. Some of the details it looks like will be different, but this boot portion won't be. So we'll angle this a little bit because her knees are kind of pointed in towards each other. Do this. Then we've got this shape, followed by this guy, and then okay, I guess I need to actually enlarge this. And again, working on a different layer here so I can do stuff over here without ruining what I've already done. Because I still like to keep my sketches somewhat clean. You know, you are trying to just keep chugging along. You don't want to waste a bunch of time during this phase, but really it's like getting something traceable that you're not going to botch during the line art section is better in the long run. So take the time you need here, and over time you'll get faster here. I certainly, if I'm not like trying to talk through stuff and just on my own drawing it, it is a lot faster, but it's okay. So let's do this, followed by the knee and the little line here. Okay, and then she's got not quite as many belts, but she still has some. So I'll do this, this, like so. And then this is just skin. So I'll just do excuse me. Let's do that. And then her calf. There we go. And then I guess she's got another belt right here, so we'll do that. Okay. And then kind of make this a little bit more angular here. There we go, just trying to resize it just a little bit there. Okay, so that looks good. Add another layer here. Next we will add her top thing. So it looks like it's just bindings like this. Then it's got the same going over here. Covers up a little bit. Don't want YouTube to get mad at me. They haven't yet, but I'm waiting for the day. So we'll get out ahead of it now by covering her up a little bit more. Do this. Okay, there we go. Just add a little line here to indicate what's going on underneath. Like so. Dodge that out. Same over here, just kind of have it get tugged into the material there. There we go. And then from there, it looks like she's just got some little detailing here that kind of comes off the neck area. Connects in here like this. Same with over here. So I should have done that before I sank my chest in. So do that. There we go, that looks a little bit better. Okay, there's a little bulge here, kind of got away from me, but that's okay. Okay, okay, so do this. I guess that's fine the way that it is there, but now it looks like she's got a little neck ornament, which, because of our angle, is pretty much covered. So we will just add in what we can from it and go from there. Add in this. So it looks like, again, it's all part of this sort of neck ornament that she's got going on. So do that. And yeah, we wouldn't see this hanging piece of jewelry either because her chest is in the way. We'll add some detail down here showing kind of where her body is kind of folding on itself there. Okay, not too bad. Probably have some adjustments to do to make it look a little bit better, but we'll do that later. So again, on a new layer, I'm gonna start with the hair. So just kind of going off what seems easiest to start with. She's got a little bang section here that comes down like so. And then a little one. And then coming up from the top here, like so. And then kind of sink it in a little bit. Now I have this. And then right above it, looks like she has these little guys. And then this looks like it comes all the way down into this. And we'll follow that up and over. And then we'll have a little spot here on the cheek. And then basically somewhat similar here. Although this connects under it, so I'm going to do that. So this connects here, this connects under it, and she's got some hair here that also kind of connects underneath all this. Lay this over. Got the tiniest little bit there. Like so. Oops. There we go. Okay. From there, we got, let's see, so we can kind of follow this line here. So do this. We got these little ear shapes. put that like so. And same with over here. Slightly different angle though, so kind of modify these a little bit. And then she's got some little tufts that stick up right behind this one. There we go. Add in these little details. There we go, and it looks like she's got some hair coming out from under here that'll kind of lay across her chest just the slightest bit. So we'll add that. Like so. Okay, and then she does have actual ears under her hair. So from this angle, probably just see the tiniest little poke of them at this little spot here. And then she's got some little jewelry earrings here. So we'll just add this little shape. Same over here. Okay, now her eyes. So again, I'm just going to do this on a separate layer because if you're going to be editing anything, it will most likely be the eyeballs. So we're going to have them on their own little thing here. She's got pretty sharp eyes. And it looks like her sort of eyelashes just connect all the way around like that. And the actual lash portion there, I'm not really going to spend too much time on in this stage because that'll just be done in the actual line art. But we just want to get the picture of what's going on. She's got some thick lashes. Something like that. We'll probably readjust the position of this a little bit. There we go. Do this, and then let's get in her other eye. Slightly different angle over here, so like that. And we're probably gonna have her smiling, so that's why I'm kind of keeping the bottom lids a little pushed up like that. Something like that. And again, the eyelashes don't really matter. We're during the line art portion, we'll make those better. Do this. Takes a little adjusting on the eye, especially when they're just in different angles. And plus, kind of from the top looking down gives it some perspective to think about, and then having the eyes at this angle where she's kind of at a not like a full 3/4 angle, but she's kind of almost there. So just a lot to think about, a lot to map out. So, well, this is good because during this process, I mean, it's just a lot of repositioning and messing with it, and during the construction line phase is when you do all that. So she's got kind of small pupils, kind of keeping her cat-like appearance, although we might make these bigger so she looks a little more cutesy. Okay, now I gotta figure out a smile here. She doesn't smile too big in any of these references, so I'll probably just give her like a little tiny one, which would look nice. Add some lips. We're going to reposition the nose a little bit. Bring it up a little. There we go. Add some happy eyebrows. Something like that. We're gonna bring in her jaw just a little bit, just so she doesn't look like she's got such a big jaw. Okay. Move this nose again. And this eyeball, we'll kind of bring it in a little. And we'll shrink this one tiniest bit. There we go. I probably could even shrink her head a little bit, because I know with the perspective her head's going to be a little bit enlarged just because it's closest to us, but honestly for me it's just a little too big. A lot of the old Genshin designs, they kind of have a slightly larger head. They're a little more chibi, but I kind of like having a smaller head so the character looks a bit taller. Yeah, just shrinking it down the tiniest bit I think looks a lot better. I think I just got a little too big there. So let's just do that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, then some of these details like the eyeshadow and stuff is just going to be done during the rendering process. Bring this eye up a little bit. And then I can kind of angle this mouth so it's a little bit more centered. Kind of looked like she was slanting it. And then there we go. So probably for some of this portion here, this video is getting pretty long and we're pretty much done. Everything past this point for the construction lines is just going to be some little edits. I say that as I look at her and realize she's got like a little cape thing, so I guess we gotta quick do that. So we're gonna quick sketch this in. It is pretty much just behind her doing its thing, so it's almost not even visible. So we will have it back here just kind of folded in on itself. Looks like it's got some designs, so we'll just sketch those in. Just some little like fire looking patterns, it looks like, with some more gold. Something like this. There we go. Okay, and we can add some more hair here, like so. Okay, so yeah, everything past this point is just going to be little balance changes, little tiny corrections, so nothing that I really want to bore you guys with, and plus if I'm busy talking and trying to think of things to say, I'm probably not going to catch some of the corrections. So we will call this good for part one, just going over the construction lines. I'm going to make some little balance changes and stuff, so by the time you see it in part two, there'll be some little tiny changes, but no big deal. But in the next part, we will start doing the line art. So hopefully you stick around for that, and if you're drawing along or you're just trying to learn some stuff, hopefully you can kind of see the problem solving that goes into doing the construction lines and keeping it, you know, clean enough to sketch over, but just messy enough that you're not too concerned about your lines, you know, crossing over and stuff like that. So hopefully you found this one helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.